What's up, everybody? This is Lynsey Weatherspoon with another episode of Trust Your Process. And today I am here with Natrice Miller. So glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Tell us who Natrice is. You know, I know who you are, or at least a little bit about you. But for those who are not familiar, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, your practice, anything that, that would be a good introduction.
All right. The older you get, it gets harder and harder as the years start adding on. But I am Natrice Miller, and I am a photojournalist, but I'm also a photo-based artist. So my day job, I'm a photojournalist for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and all the time I am a photo-based artist. I dabble in a little bit of film. I do a little bit of documentary. I play with alternative process, but the biggest thing with my work is presentation. So yes, you have the subject matter, but I'm really big on installations or how I'm presenting the work. I've gotten to the point where I just don't want to put my picture in the frame, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I do it, but how can I push the story a little further and make it a little more interesting? So I'm always thinking about, okay, do I want to print this on fabric? How big do I want to print it? Things like that. So do I want to do an installation, a multi-channel installation? So a really big part of my work that's really grown over the years is not only what I'm photographing, it's how I'm presenting it to really tell the story in a unique way. So I'm really kind of dabbling between both worlds on a regular basis, where I'm doing photojournalism in the city, but I'm also creating art and showing in art institutions. So it's an interesting balance because it is, you dabble as well. It's two different brains that you're using. So
Absolutely. Are you usually like on a certain assignment, or are you kind of on a beat? Like what's your flow?
I pretty much do a little bit of everything, general news. I don't do sports. I leave that to the experts. Sports, that's a whole different beast right there.
Yeah.
But typically we'll get an assignment the day before. Some days it's the day of, some days it's, hey, go and do this, a press conference happening. So it really varies every single day, but that's what I love about it, because every single day is different. But definitely a lot of politics. I do a lot of portraits, a lot of human interest stories. Sometimes it's something like a building mug. Hey, we need a picture of this building they're about to tear down, something like that, so it's really a little bit of everything, and it depends on the day.
And before we talk about like process as far as like switching our brains to those things, I would love for you to talk more about is how, you were a photojournalism major at FAMU. That's something I didn't know. So it makes AJC make sense, and the stories that you tell within the more fine arts work that you do as well. So
I wasn't photojournalism. I was actually broadcast.
Okay.
Broadcast.
My apologies.
Yep. So I was one of those people where I didn't know, oh, I'm going to college. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I've never been one of those people, but I've always been creative my whole life. I could always draw. I just was always interested in the art. So I learned the dark room in high school, back when they did that kind of thing in high school, where it had a whole photo room, dark room, all of that. So I learned it, but I didn't, I liked it, but I didn't know this would be my career. And I do remember in high school, I sat and I was watching Teen Summit with my sister, and she went to Hampton, and she was saying one of the hosts went to Hampton or Howard. And I was like, oh, that's kind of dope to be on TV and kind of do this broadcast thing. And I thought it was interesting. So not to say I necessarily wanted to be on TV, but I knew something in that realm was really interesting to me. So that's why I went into broadcast journalism. While I was there, I worked for the FAMU, which was the school newspaper, and I did 2 years at Journey, which was the school magazine. And while I was there, I was a photo editor my senior year, but somewhere before that, I was like, I want to start taking some pictures. Like, I feel like I can take pictures better
Yeah.
than that. And I liked how the photo kind of worked with the words. I was
Mm-hmm.
writing, but it just kind of happened. And then
Mm-hmm.
I had to take an elective and I jumped in an advanced color class. I didn't take any prerequisites. And the Professor Austin, rest in peace, he became my mentor. He was like, you're a little rough around the edges, but he was like, you have a good eye. And
Mm-hmm.
so he gave me a 10-minute tutorial on how to use strobes, and everything else is self-taught. And I just
Oh,
went through
wow.
the journey of teaching myself. But in that period, I was the photo editor. I would take pictures for the modeling troops, photograph my best friend at the time. She was a model. So, I practiced, those modeling troops in college. They ready.
Absolutely. Yeah, they ready.
They're ready. So they're perfect to practice on. So I really, really fell in love with photography. I would say
Mm-hmm.
maybe about junior year, where I was like, gosh, should I have done a different major? But, by the time I got that far, I was like, I'm not switching my major.
I don't blame you.
And I still learned how to edit and do documentaries and all of that. So my
Mm-hmm.
broadcast skills, they took me very far. So
Yeah.
um, I guess during that period, I wasn't thinking about photography in a
Mm-hmm.
photojournalism way. I was thinking about portraits. Vibe
Mm-hmm.
magazine, The Source, they
Mm-hmm.
covered my walls in my dorm room. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when I thought of photography, that's the things that really appealed to me, the album covers. So I'm
Yeah.
looking at album liner notes and looking at Jonathan Mannion's name for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
at the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
time, not really putting it together, but just wanting to know who shot this. And I just kind of became obsessed and said, I think I'm going to do this. So I didn't start off the photojournalism way. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
calling editors. I didn't do it the right way. I
Yeah.
just got out there and moved back to Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and started working with little indie magazines in the hood, photographing rappers slash
Yeah.
drug dealers, all of that. And so I was going into all types of situations. They got choppers and guns and like, yeah, do a mixtape. I'm like, okay.
You know what? You
And
sound like Sheila Prebright, because
yeah,
that's
yeah, pretty much. It was like
yeah.
that. So, like I said, I did my first job was a graphic designer
Mm-hmm.
at the Miami Times, the black paper. And I quit that after about 2 or 3 months.
I would
Felt
say
like
hours.
hours. That's
That's how you knew it was time to go.
how I knew. I was like, peace out. But so I do know how to do page layout and all of that because
Mm-hmm.
graphic design was my minor as well. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, I was like, I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna be a photographer and I'm gonna shoot for Rolling Stone and Vibe and all this stuff. And it didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
But so I went through a very long, long journey to get
Mm-hmm.
here. And I'm glad because I got a lot of kinks out. I got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
life skills. I have a discernment about people that
Mm-hmm.
you only get from just working for yourself and dealing
Correct.
with it. So, like I said, when people ask me, how did you do this? I stuck with it and I built relationships and I just
Mm-hmm.
would not stop. There was no plan B. There wasn't go pick up a job at Target real quick to make money. I was like, I'm just gonna be broke. And I
I,
was.
an artist's favorite thing to do is just like, I would just make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But rent was $500 back then. So
Look,
you could do something.
that's true. That's true. I mean, I remember my rent being $600 and still being like, some got to shake. So we gonna
Yeah.
make it work.
You can borrow a little bit from
Mm-hmm.
everyone and make five
Mm-hmm.
or 600. You can't make
Mm-hmm.
1,800 half in every month.
No, not at all. Not at all. And then when you do make 1,800, you be like, yes, I can pay off one thing. I'm good. But it sounds like right before college, and you took that darkroom class in high school. It
Mhm.
sounds like you've always had like a creative bug in you. Is there someone that you can credit that to, or is it, was it something you saw that possibly made you feel like this could be a thing for you? Not photography, but
Um,
just art in itself.
yeah. I just was always a naturally creative child, just drawing, and my mom didn't put me in anything, at
Mhm.
the time, not because she didn't care or anything like that. It's just kind of different back then, Sometimes you didn't have all these opportunities
Yeah.
like kids do now, but she encouraged the drawing and everything. And I used to sit and just draw portraits of people
Mm.
all
Mm.
day, 6, 7 years old, drawing my aunts, drawing my grandma, drawing buildings. I just used to sit and draw. But
Yeah.
my father was actually very creative, but he wasn't an artist. He was a school teacher for 37 years,
Mm.
but he was an amazing cook and he could draw like crazy. And he just liked to party and transform spaces and entertain. And
Yeah.
that's creativity. People always tie it to painting and things like
Mhm.
that, but being able to pull a dish together, everybody can't cook.
I know.
Everybody can't pull,
Yeah.
everybody can't pull a recipe together. So he just really enjoyed entertaining people and the
Mm.
creativity of transforming the garage. It was called the Crab Lounge, and he painted a crab on it because he was a cancer. They called him Freddie Crab, and his TV.
Mm.
He set a bar up in there. He had his palm trees in the backyard, so he transformed his space to make his own little paradise. And he would pull up the
Mm.
garage, and people would just, it's Friday, we going to the Crab Lounge and sit out there all night. So
I love
we
it.
get the creativity from my father. He just
Mhm.
wasn't an artist in the typical way, but
Yeah.
he was an artist at heart. So
Yeah.
all of us are creative.
Yeah. When you say that, it makes me think about like the importance of just the creative energy. Like you
Mhm.
were saying, like it's an art to just pull people together, because
Mhm.
everybody, even with that, everybody can't do it.
Right.
And with your father being able to do that, um I'm wondering, do you feel like that's something you picked up as far as like with your craft? And what I mean by that is that photographers have a way of just gathering people during a moment, even if we
Yeah.
just met. So do you feel like growing up in a environment like that help you, in your assignments or your fine art or whatever the case may be?
Um, it probably did. I never even thought about that until you said it, but a lot of things are subconscious and you're watching
Hmm.
your parents and you don't even think about it. But I'm sure, like, I'm actually really, really introverted, but people don't know it because I just be joking and stuff all the time. But um, I told somebody years ago, one of my first assignments, the guy had a very jealous girlfriend.
Hmm.
And we sat down to look at the images, she was like, "You had your shirt off, this or that." And it wasn't like that. He wanted to show off some tattoos and
Hmm.
things. And I kind of had to disarm her. I'm not
Mm.
here. I don't want your boyfriend. I'm looking at the pictures. I want to make sure he likes them.
Yeah.
And I think photographers, or some, maybe not all,
Yeah.
but have a gift of disarming people,
Hmm.
and you have to get them comfortable
Right.
sometimes. So maybe some of that is in there, like just learning how to talk to people
Hmm.
to get them, because you got to get what you need. We still have,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, we still have something we have to do. So
Right.
I think maybe there is something in that, and knowing how to talk to people and
Yeah.
everything, even if I don't feel like it, because I don't feel like it a lot of
And it's the
days.
truth. Yeah.
But you have to kind of turn this thing on and off, because if I have an attitude or I go in there quiet or acting weird,
Hmm.
I'm not going to get good energy, and I'm not
Hmm.
going to get people to loosen up and get what I need, at least for a portrait. So
Yeah.
I think there's probably more of that in there, that social part, just
Hmm.
from watching him all those years.
Hmm.
That maybe is in there, and I never realized it until you
Yeah,
said it,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
when you were working in those, different environments, with like the music videos and things of that nature, like what were you thinking your next steps would be? I'm just wondering. I mean, because I have a very similar route as you. I didn't walk into photography until, like, my mom was a photographer. I played around with the camera. I did not do anything as far as like yearbook in high
Right.
school. I took a darkroom class my sophomore junior year because I didn't want to come home. I said I'll
Mm.
stay at school and then go to summer school, but I'm gonna take this class and then whatever. So I was like, oh no, not coming home. So
Strategy.
it was, and it worked. So I took the class and then taking pictures of like friends, my sorority sisters, and then after that, I took a few pictures after college and everything. So like I said, I feel like we have a similar way that we got into the photojournalism space. So when you were in Miami, like, I guess, what did you want the next step to be? What did you want to see for yourself?
I wanted to shoot for the major magazines. So
Mm-hmm.
in my head, um, you use all of these different opportunities and
Mm-hmm.
you build networks and you create that portfolio. And, so
Mm-hmm.
that was always this goal. Oh, I want to document, these things,
Mm-hmm.
portraits,
Mm-hmm.
specifically portraits. And so you're kind of like, oh, I get to shoot for a magazine. No, it's not Rolling Stone, but I get an opportunity to shoot something,
Yeah.
So I just love to shoot too.
Yeah.
So I think in my head, it's like, no, you do the groundwork, you build a portfolio, and you just keep going. You reach out to who you need to reach out to, go to the
Mm-hmm.
events, and you're going to get your opportunity at some point. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I looked at it. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, I never intended on just, you know, shooting the small, or not to say small, I don't want to say that, but the
Understood.
indie artists at the time, that wasn't necessarily the goal to just do that forever. Like, oh, I just want to document Miami people. Like, oh no, I want to do the big dogs. But
Right.
so I was shooting people. You have to think, because I think we're about the same age. I'm
Mm-hmm.
42.
Mm-hmm.
And photography was not in 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
Photography's always been there, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not what it is now because number
Absolutely.
one, everyone did not shoot digital. I was still
Mm-hmm.
shooting film and just got my first digital camera maybe 2007. So I learned film.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody wasn't doing it because it wasn't quite as easy to do.
Right.
So we didn't have social media. We had MySpace and stuff, but it just wasn't the same as it is now where so many people do it, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, a good photo shoot is a backdrop, and you're not
Right.
somebody famous.
Right.
So because I grew up looking at Vibe and The Source and Double XL, I'm taking these guys out here. And, oh, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna get this Miami skyline. Oh, you
Mm-hmm.
want to shoot in front of your grandma's house? Cool. We're gonna make sure all the kids are like. I wanted to create these editorial style shoots that I was looking at my whole life in these
Yeah.
magazines. So
Yeah.
I was coming kind of with this different flavor of I didn't have to be in the studio. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
not a studio photographer. I can get in there, I mess with some lights, but I like my locations. What do I have to work with? Let me walk
Yeah.
into the situation and figure something out. It's still fun to me to this
Yeah.
day to get stressed out like, okay, I don't know. Let's and then to pull it off. And
Right.
that's how I became quick with doing portraits because
Mm-hmm.
I could go in any situation and find that pocket of light, or this time use my flash, go stand by that window, pull this lamp
Mm-hmm.
over here. So
Mm-hmm.
I love I love the idea of giving these guys that were independents, maybe nobody knew who they were, a photo shoot like
Yeah.
you're LL Cool J or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you're whoever. That's what I was doing back then.
Yeah.
So that's normal now for people, but it
Right.
wasn't necessarily the norm for somebody that wasn't a big deal photographer. So
Yeah.
that's kind
Yeah.
of where I was going.
Yeah. I mean, the barrier to entry was definitely different. Even if you
Yeah,
think of it from a pricing perspective, cameras
right.
were extremely expensive to get, to not have as much as we have now, like as far
Right.
as what the technology can do. But I thought about something as you were saying that you were talking about basically how you were making things work. But what
Yeah.
I also want to know is, were there any photographers that you had learned about as you were learning the process itself? Like, was there a Black photographer that stood out? You mentioned Jonathan Mannion, who was very prominent during the Vibe, magazine days. I remember he also had a project where he specifically came to Atlanta and photographed all of the street names that were mentioned in different songs by Atlanta rappers. So, I mean, he was, completely enmeshed in that world, but also he's a white guy. So I'm just wondering, like, in your time, as you were evolving, were there any Black photographers that were influential to you or that you were learning about?
Back then I didn't think of it in that way because I
Yeah.
didn't know. Because you got to
Mm-hmm.
think these people were behind the scenes then.
Yeah.
So like now we can look and say, oh, this person's this and that because they're forward facing now.
Mm-hmm.
But one person I specifically remember was Mark Baptiste. I loved his portrait.
Mm-hmm.
He had some of the most gorgeous portraits in Essence magazine, like some of the things he did with Erica Badu, sitting out there in that chair, outside.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of them that I really enjoyed. But just in transparency, I just looked at the images back then because
That's fair.
I wasn't able to say, oh, this person's Black or this or that, because it wasn't always so simple
Mm-hmm.
to just always Google these things. I just didn't think in the same way. I
Yeah.
was just looking at the images. So, yeah, I know the names, but a lot of them may not have been Black. So,
Yeah.
I'm looking at Mario Testino and
Mm-hmm.
what's her name that shot the Velvet Rope? Unworth. Von Unworth. I'm probably saying the name wrong. She's a
Oh,
white
I'm not
woman,
familiar, but yeah,
but
I'll have to look her up.
she did a lot of those edgier shoots like the Velvet Rope and Naomi Campbell, and a lot of really edgy
Mm-hmm.
black and white things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, your masters, Avedon. Um, what's his name? You have a brain fart when you got to talk
Right, we
about
got to
it.
tell about it.
But that did he's one of my favorites. That did In the Closet, Michael Jackson's video, that director, but he is also a photographer, did the Calvin Klein ads.
Oh, you're stumping me now. I'm not familiar.
Uh he was known for his outdoor
Oh,
portraits.
Herb Ritz. Yep.
Herbert's,
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorites. So for me at the time, it wasn't so much about, oh, this Black photographer. I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at the people that's just getting down, shooting the things that I admire. And those are some
Yeah.
of my favorites because they're outside in these spaces creating amazing work. So just off
Mm-hmm.
the top of my head, I'm sure there are some Black ones in there, ma'am. Maybe I'm not remembering, but
Mm-hmm.
at the time, I just remember looking at certain images and saying who shot it. And at the time, I didn't care what color they were. I was just
Yeah.
studying the work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those were some of the masters in my eyes. So, like I say, Jonathan Mann, because he just shot so much stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I enjoyed. So, I'm all about my Black photographers. But at the time, other than Renee Cox, she's one of
Mm-hmm.
them, but her work, she did some editorial and all, but her work was still in a different lane in that fine
Right.
art field too.
Right.
I wasn't there yet. You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So I knew her work in some of those, but I'm not where I am now, where I've started really studying, these photo based multidisciplinary artists. So you got to
Right.
understand, I was in this kind of
Oh,
editorial
I get it.
portrait mode,
I get it.
and then I grew and my world just opened up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's understandable. I mean, I appreciate you putting it in context because I have a habit of thinking about now, but not thinking about like, oh, there Google was still kind of still new as we were
Right.
talking about looking for things. And then that doesn't mean everybody that you Google, their information was there or was a photo of them.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense. The first time I ever saw a Black photographer was in Jean Mutsumi Ash's book, Viewfinders.
Mhm.
That was the first book that I ever had that was not just Black people, but all Black women photographers.
Right.
So, even in that context, were there and we're moving into now, and then we're going to go back. But
Right.
like now, like what type of books do you own? What has been, a source of inspiration for you? And, now that you have the information about
Right.
different Black photographers, who are those folks for you?
Um, I always start with Sheila Pre Bright. She's like my mentor. She's the one I tell her all the time, like she single-handedly changed the trajectory of my
Mm,
career.
mm.
I met with her maybe in 2016 and I was like, "Oh, you sit and look at some of my work." She was like, "Okay." She was nice enough to meet up with me
Yeah.
and do that, and because she's so nice. And it's like, I think that was such a good example because sometimes people that have done the things that she's done, they're not
Hmm.
always very nice. And she was
Right.
very kind, and she is
Mm-hmm.
very kind. But she sat down and, she looked at some stuff. She's like, "This is good. I wanted to recommend you for this or that, but I don't think you're ready." And I took that because I was not. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing she told me, she said, "Look at everything that you're shooting, not
Yeah.
for assignments or whatever." She said, "Look at what you're shooting when you're traveling, when you're just out
Mm-hmm.
and about, when you're having fun, and find the common thread." And she
Mm-hmm.
said, "You're going to find something there." And I did that. I actually sat and looked at all of my stuff and I said, the common thread is Black people and Black
Mm-hmm.
culture. And something clicked. And then the ideas started coming. So,
Mm-hmm.
as a photographer, we're used to shooting for other people. That's easy to shoot for other people.
Right.
But to start creating your own bodies of work based on your ideas is not
Mm-hmm.
as easy as people think, to find your own voice, not to copy somebody.
I
And
agree.
when her giving me that advice, it made me look inward and say, "Oh, I'm over here just, oh, there's somebody, a band. I want to shoot that, or a little
Mm-hmm.
Black girl in her hair." I'm just attracted to the culture, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when she
Which
told
is
me
very
that,
evident in what you do.
exactly. And it's not necessarily tied to oppression. Like our culture was created as a result of
Mm-hmm.
oppression. So
Mm-hmm.
I won't say I'm hitting these deep, deep, hard things, but I think all of it matters,
Yeah.
So all of those nuanced things, someone getting their hair washed, the bobbles
Yeah.
on her ponytail, the boy in the band standing there waiting, you know what I mean? All
Mm-hmm.
of those things are really important to me. And she's the one that kind of made me look at it that way. And from
Mm.
there, things just kind of started forming and gelling a little better,
Yeah.
where I began to start feeling like, "Oh, I'm an artist. I'm not just producing stuff for other people or
Mm-hmm.
taking pictures for an assignment. I'm thinking about the things I want to talk about and the stories that I want to tell, and I can do it now." And I feel like that's the point where I really became an artist, not just a photographer.
I love it.
Because I
I
don't
love
think
it.
every photographer is an artist. And that's not, I don't say that in a negative way.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But
okay, in that case, explain yourself, just in case somebody may ask.
And like I said, I don't mean any of this in a negative way because
Oh,
I've
yeah,
shot
not
everything.
yeah,
Give me
not at
that
all. I mean,
money, like
I I get it. I
people
get
get
it.
so offended, and that's not
Yeah.
what it is. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be, even.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like I said, when you're able to think about an idea and produce a body of work from it,
Yeah.
and nobody's telling you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to produce it and you get some eyes, "Hey, Lynsey, take a look at this." That's one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's different. And I think you know this from doing it. It's exhausting shooting for people all the time when they need a portrait, they need engagement shoots. I've done all of that, event
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
photography, red carpet stuff. You're not shooting for yourself, and you might enjoy it, it might be fun, but I think when you start digging into ideas and why is this like this, let's dig
Yeah.
into this. I think that's when you start getting into the artistry of
Right.
things a little bit. So I don't want to be so black and white with that because some people don't intend to do that and their work can
Mm-hmm.
become art. But
Mm-hmm.
I think you know what I'm saying a little bit. It's
Yeah.
just
No. Yeah. Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted it in your words versus mine, so that's why I was asking you
Right.
to explain it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do, to a certain degree, there are people
Yeah.
who want to make the work and not necessarily have to embody the work.
Mhm.
So, and I feel like there is a sense of freedom to do just that,
Yeah.
because you're still making, but
Right.
maybe, you see this one subject as this, and I see it as three other things because I've looked at all the other layers. But I think that's how we are able to, articulate ourselves a bit more. Like we see this one project and we realize there may be some missing pieces. So how
Mm-hmm.
can I or you add more context to it so that way the conversation, keeps going?
Right.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, there's some people, I've met them before where it's like, oh, I'm about to get this money. I got this camera. I can just
Yeah.
get out here and do these weddings. What? I could charge $3,000 if I could
Yep.
do two weddings. And cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, but is your heart there? Like, I did not get
Yeah.
into this for the money because Lord knows, and I'm good now. But
Right.
this was broke for a long time.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I wouldn't even then 2005, 2010, I didn't call myself an artist. I called
Mhm.
myself a photographer. And like I said, it
Mhm.
wasn't until that conversation with Sheila Pre-Bright and
Yeah.
I just started digging and just saying, I actually stopped doing portraits for people.
Mm.
Maybe like
Are you saying like
friends or something.
commission portraits, like you're like, I guess,
Yeah.
commission consumer type of portraits? That's what you mean?
Right. Because,
Okay.
for years I still was doing that. Like, oh, I need some headshots. Oh, I need, you know, an engagement picture. Oh, I just need some nice photos. Because, at a certain point, when you hit that Pinterest era, I call it
Mm.
2011 to 2012,
Mhm.
everybody needed a photo shoot all of a sudden. Not because you're a professional, not because you have a small business. You just want to
You just
stunt
want
a
some
little bit.
pictures. Yeah.
And that's okay. But with that, it became stressful for me because now
Mhm.
you're pulling up someone else's pictures. Oh, shoot it like that. Oh, I want to hold some balloons. I want to do this. It's like, well, go find that photographer because I don't shoot like that.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
can't mimic it and I'm not going to copy them verbatim. Like, okay, I know
Mhm.
the feel you want. And it actually started becoming exhausting when people started pulling up Pinterest boards
Mhm.
and saying, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do that?" And it's like, this is cool, and I could probably make a killing from it, but it actually started to drain me really
Right.
bad. And I remember
Right.
telling my husband, I said, I think I did an engagement shoot for maybe a long time client I had for
Mhm.
years, and after that, I felt drained. There's nothing she did, but I
Mhm.
just felt drained, and I said, it's time for me to start figuring out something else. I was
Yeah.
shooting for Creative Loafing in Charlotte before I moved to Atlanta. So, I was
Mhm.
doing assignment work in that way and I was liking that more, but just shooting for regular people.
Mhm.
And I hate saying regular people in that way. I don't want to sound like I'm diminishing people, but
Understood. Yeah.
um it just started to drain me.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just decided I stopped. So unless it's like a friend or somebody close that might need a, quick headshot for my
Right.
people, I'll do it. But it's pretty draining, actually.
Yeah. I mean,
It can
it's
be.
it can be, but I feel your energy with that, because as a person who used to shoot weddings and then
Mm,
realize I'm like, these aren't my people, and
right,
being okay with saying that, I'm just like,
right.
it just felt like a ton of weight just came off of my
It's a
shoulders,
lot.
because I don't have to carry these people with me until, you know, later this year or next year, because I
That's
mean,
one
and
way of looking at it. You are
yeah,
carrying.
yeah, I'm carrying, literally carrying these people, because, there's a process of like, you have to choose your pictures, then I have to make your album, and then this and
Mm,
then that. And then when you realize like that takes away from your creative flow, it feels like more work than you bargained for.
right.
And I want people to know this is no shade to any wedding photographer. This
None
is
because we need
us,
them.
right? We need them.
I'm
We need
married.
y'all. Yeah.
I hire some. We need
Listen,
them.
I hope to be married. So yes, I already know who I'd love to make my
Right.
wedding photos. But I, as a different, and you as a different type of photographer, was just like, I'm good. I love the people, but it's more of the time suck than the
Yeah,
people. The people are great. It's just
right.
all of the little pieces that go with it. So I understand from a time perspective where it's like,
Yeah.
I might want to step away from that. But I feel like that's an excellent segue to talk about how, you know, you move from place to place, and you just mentioned you said North Carolina
Yeah, I was in
and working
Charlotte
at
for 7
Charlotte.
years.
Oh
Mhm.
wow. Okay, so was it Miami, Charlotte, Atlanta, or another way?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Miami. I just have to give people the whole breakdown
Okay.
real quick. I moved to Warner Robins, Georgia when I was about 7 or 8. I
Okay.
finished high school there. I went to FAMU.
Okay.
After college, I moved back to Miami for
Okay.
about 3 years, and then I
Uh-huh.
was like, "Ooh, I can't afford this." And my daddy was like, "You need to get a job." And I was like, "I can't afford rent in Miami."
Yeah. Right,
With
right,
whatever
right.
I'm doing, because I don't plan on getting an actual job. I'm a photographer. So I moved to Charlotte. My sister was there, and I moved up there, and I lived with
Okay.
her for about a year. And I got my own place in like
Mm-hmm.
2009. And then I was able to start my life as a real adult in Charlotte, to have my own place, because the cost of living at the time was much cheaper than Miami for car
Mm-hmm.
insurance, rent, everything. So like I said,
Right.
my rent was $498 when I first
Oh,
moved into a nice, decent one bedroom.
I love it. I love it. That's
Yeah,
my
and I
car
and I
note.
still and I was still late every month. That's how broke I was. But, yeah, I was there from, yeah, it's about, yeah, 7 years till about
Mm-hmm.
2014, then I moved to Atlanta, and I've been here for 11 years.
Okay. What
Yeah.
what made you move here?
A man.
Yeah. Well, at least you're honest.
Yeah, but thank I married him, so
Yeah,
it
that's
worked out.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. With two beautiful boys for sure.
Yeah, my babies,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. So when you got to Atlanta, like what did you do to meet people in the art space or just in general?
So when I moved to Atlanta in January 2014, my
Mhm.
father passed November 2013. So when I
Mhm.
moved here, I was very, very sad because he died unexpectedly
Mhm.
from congestive heart failure. We had no idea that was going to happen. He lived in Miami. And so I actually didn't even pick up my camera for maybe the first 4 or 5 months that I moved here.
Mhm.
But it was weird because I'm creative, it's like I still have to do something.
Yeah.
So I just started sewing. So I was sewing. I was like, I was making skirts, making jewelry. And it was weird because I didn't realize it was almost like somebody that smokes trying to find a way to not smoke. So
Yeah.
they're doing the Nicorette gum and drinking sodas or whatever. So it's like I wasn't really shooting because I was just sad and I just
Yeah.
didn't want to. I can't get the exact timeline. It's a blur now,
Yeah, no
but
worries.
I started, like, okay, I'm gonna try to show a few things like with Atlanta photography group. So I would do stuff like
Mhm.
that. And that's
Mhm.
when I first met Sue Ross. And then
Mhm.
she told me about cystography. So I got into cystography. So that's how I started meeting people. And then I don't know if you know Carlton Hargrove. He was an editor at Creative Loafing at the time, but he does an independent magazine called Slow Mo now.
Mhm.
And I knew him from Charlotte, and I would
Oh,
hit him
nice.
up all the time in Charlotte because he was the editor at Creative Loafing, and he would never return my emails. He's a very nice guy, and I'd be like, I emailed you. He'd be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I moved here, and I ran into him at a party, and I was like, I'm still waiting on you to return my emails, and he was like, we do. He had a radio show for his magazine, Slow Mo. He
Mhm.
was like, I need some pictures. We do it every Sunday. You can come in and take some pictures. I was like, cool. And that's
Mhm.
actually, I tell him all the time, he's the first person to put money in my pocket. And he just threw a
Mm.
few dollars, but
Mhm.
I would go every Sunday. He did his radio show, and I would take pictures. And a lot of these people I know now in this art community, he was interviewing them. So that was kind of
Mm.
one of my first introductions. I
Yeah.
would say like that first year or two. And then
Yeah.
from there, I just started going to art events and just going to different things. I had a food and travel blog at the time, so I was doing a
Mm.
lot of heavy travel then.
Mhm.
So it's like I wasn't working in that way yet,
Mhm.
but I'm always gonna find a way to fill the void creatively. So I had a
Yeah.
blog, the Cultured Lens. I was traveling all the time with my husband. I was interviewing Michelin star chefs and
So you were ahead of
going
the game, because I mean, think about
yeah,
Atlanta now and what you were doing then.
I was too early.
Yeah.
I had a whole blog. I was going to these restaurants. I was doing portraits of the chefs. I was sitting and
Mm.
doing interviews with them. And I had, I mean, a lot. So on top of traveling the world, hotels, sommeliers, all of that. And that kind of also built a network because, you know, it's all these
Mm.
different little
Mhm.
subcultures or whatever in
Mhm.
Atlanta. So
Mhm.
I know a lot of these people in that food world because I
Right.
did it for a while. And then
Yeah.
things is a weird overlap. So that was really what I was going hard with when I first moved here was my
Yeah.
blog, shooting with Carlton. I would go to the cystography meetings, do some
Mhm.
of those shows, and then you know all of that has a way of introducing you to people. And I just started meeting this person, meeting that
Yeah.
person, and the relationships are everything.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
We actually got to Atlanta around the same time. You came
Mm,
January of the same year of
yeah.
2014. I moved here in April. Matter of fact, it
Okay.
was Easter weekend of twenty
Oh wow.
fourteen. Right. He is risen. So I feel I feel like I don't know how our worlds may not have crossed in that,
Right.
um, it just wasn't time. That's what I'm
It
gonna say.
wasn't time,
It
divine
was a
timing.
time. Yes, indeed, indeed. I feel like what you do sounds like you're always ahead of the game. So, would you be interested in doing that again as far as like, going to these restaurants and having this blog, or would you ever do that again?
Yeah, I never like took down the Instagram. I think I like stopped paying for the website like a few months ago or something. I would, and when I still go out, you know, I still
Mhm.
take pictures, but my life is completely different now. I
Right.
don't have the same amount of time. I
Mhm.
don't have the same amount of energy.
Mhm.
So I probably would in some way, but that's just not where I am now, and
Yeah.
it's just not where I am now, but I will probably always go back to it because I just have a love for hospitality and hotels and food and everything. Because it's art.
Right.
Culinary arts is interesting to me.
Right.
So, I'm sure in some way I will, but I don't have the time to just go to these dinners in the middle of the week
Yeah.
and go out all the time, and I just don't have the time anymore between art, photojournalism, my children.
Right.
Just time for me to sit and be still, which I don't have a lot of that. So
Yeah.
I think it was the perfect time. Like I said, we traveled the world, and I think
Mm.
that's why I'm very content now
Mm.
because
Mhm.
it's not like, because parenthood changes a lot and it
Mhm.
does keep you in place a little more because you
Yeah.
just, at least if you're like me and you don't trust just anybody with your children, yeah, you're not just going to get up and leave your kids with anyone. So
Yeah.
I don't have those regrets like, oh, I had kids and I always wanted to go here and wouldn't have to wait until retirement. Me and my husband travel, you know, so, and I still travel with my children. I haven't gone international since COVID, but
Mhm.
we take them on at least two good trips every year, you know,
I love it.
like
Yeah.
California, Phoenix, stuff
Mhm.
like that. So we're like New York taking them on
Yeah.
trip, you know? So I just feel like for now, I'm actually okay with kind of exploring
Mm.
where I live, the United
Mhm.
States. It's a lot here. It's still an
It is.
interesting country. We love to
Yeah.
go and say, I'm in France, ha ha ha, you know, and do it up. But it's like the United States is a bunch of different countries in itself. New Orleans ain't like LA. LA ain't like Seattle.
Yeah.
So I enjoy traveling here now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty tired. But they have their passports and everything though. So if I
Mm,
decide, hey, let's take them here, we can go tomorrow
and
and
go,
go to
yeah,
Canada. So I still got my
yeah.
babies ready, you know?
I love it, as they should be. I
Yeah.
mean, if mama and daddy were doing it, they gonna do it
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
Yeah. It's just
yeah,
hard with work. And now that he's in kindergarten, when they're a little baby, you can just up and go. And I was
yeah,
freelancing,
yeah,
so it's a little, I had more flexibility.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
even in the space that you're in now, I went back and watched your short film about Sue Ross. They call me Sue.
Mhm.
I mean, even from that perspective of like thinking about how you are just so passionate about not only Black life, but uh, womanhood, womanness, Black womanness. Because I also went back and listened to the your Rhapsody playlist. I mean, it flows well. It's very intentional. It's just one of the things that I feel like really connects um me to your work. And with me saying that, what was the experience of like directing the film about Sue Ross? Because she's one of the first people that you met as far as like a photography group in Atlanta. So now it's like
Mhm.
a full circle moment for you.
Yeah. It was hard at first, not because it's Sue, but because I'm used to being behind the camera. I'm used
Mm.
to doing all of it. So I had to flex a different muscle of like not snatching up the camera. But the cinematographers, they're really cool people. I'm
Hmm.
still super cool, became friends with one of them. So it wasn't because of them or anything. Everybody was great, but in my head it's like it didn't feel like I did it if I'm not behind the camera, but that's
Yeah,
so not true. And
true.
that was a very important project because it helped me realize, oh no, you're doing just as much by sitting here, not only interviewing her, setting up, all the different locations. Oh, we're
Yep.
going to shoot her here, do this, that,
Yeah.
like going through all the transcripts and the
Hmm.
back and forth and all of that. So,
Hmm.
the producing side, producing
Hmm.
and the directing.
Right.
Even down to say, "Oh no, this looks good, but that window's a little blown out." That was a real
Yeah.
conversation. That window
Yeah.
behind her, they're like, "Well, blah blah." I was like, "Well, I got another light in the car, so let's light her a little more to make sure this blue sky isn't blown out." And
Right.
that's
Smart.
directing,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
that was the beauty because I actually shoot. There's certain things that I could
Hmm.
see, and I didn't have to do that a lot, because they're
Hmm.
really good. But it was a it was a different muscle I had to flex to not be behind the camera.
Yeah, I
And
could
that
see
was the
that.
first time, but it was okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is okay." And
Yeah.
then, like, not having to pack up all that gear and stuff, I was like, "Yeah,
That
this
part.
is real okay."
That part. That part.
Yeah,
I love a walk in and being like, okay, do you all need anything else? All
right.
right, call me when y'all
Got my
done.
clipboard here.
Right. Is that something that you like to do more of, where you are the director versus director, producer, cinematographer, gaffer, all the things?
Maybe, with the right
Okay.
crew.
Okay. Gotcha.
That some
Have
of that's control issues.
mm-hmm.
Some of that is I love to shoot. I
Mm-hmm.
love the problem solving of it, but I don't I'm not trying to shoot Star Wars or anything. And I don't know what life will bring,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to go to Hollywood. I don't want to do big productions and stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
love the type of stuff that I'm doing. And things will grow in a certain way, but I enjoy that. Actually, I
Yeah.
enjoy the shooting. I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
talking to the people. I enjoy the editing. So
Mm-hmm.
some of it you could say is control because I know how I want it, but
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
until I hit that point, then I probably will. But I don't, if I need a crew for something, then
Mm-hmm.
I'll get one. But right now, I enjoy doing these things that's within my scope is not so huge,
Mm-hmm.
but I could still tell a story. Like I say with Sue, that was with AJC, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there's some things they bound these people or whatever. I didn't have full control.
Right.
But when I'm speaking about my personal work outside of AJC,
Mm-hmm.
I like doing all of that stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
like thinking of these short little films that can tell a story that might connect with someone, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
shoot it. I like doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a growth thing. If I feel like I need the help, then I'll get it.
Yeah. I
It's
want to
really
I,
that simple.
I want to challenge you on that.
Mm,
I'm
okay.
one because I've seen the work that you do, phenomenal.
Hmm.
But I want to challenge you, like what if someone offered to help and then you still had the control, but it was just like maybe they came in with like a different type of camera or something else that would kind of heighten what you already have done.
I'm open. You know, like I say, I just like to shoot, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm open. And when opportunities come and the vibes are right,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm open. I always just
Mm-hmm.
say I leave room. I'm
Gotcha.
open. So
Yeah.
I'm not like, absolutely not. That's not what I mean. I think it's just still an enjoyment there for me. But vibes have to be right for me.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just say, oh, this person's a great cinematographer. They're a jerk, but they're great. Not for the type of work I'm doing.
Oh,
That's not
absolutely.
going to work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if that did happen, like, oh, yeah, you know, I want to do this or that. And it's like, oh, they're kind of dope. They got an eye. I want to do this or that. Absolutely. I'm
Mm.
open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the love of shooting anything, it's I love that. And especially the challenge of figuring it out. So that
Yeah.
way, like even with directing, you figure it out maybe beforehand with a bit of planning, but even then something else could happen in the midst of what's going
Right.
on. So directing, you got the camera, you got this, you got all of these things, the other little moving pieces. And the reason I asked you that is because I too have control issues. But I'm realizing that when I release maybe just one part of the process,
Hmm.
that gives me the freedom to add more creativity to what I'm doing.
I can see that.
So
That makes sense.
yeah, because I I know that I could probably talk to people better if I'm
Mm,
not having to focus on the
right.
audio, the lighting,
Right. That's
where
true.
they're sitting, the conversation. So I have like a million things on my mind,
Right.
and that, it's not going to take away from what I'm doing, but it's like, if
Yeah,
somebody
it's two
kind of,
different brains you
yeah,
have on. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like today I had a shoot and I was just like, if somebody was here, this whole thing could be even more amazing than what it is. So
Mhm.
I applaud anyone who is doing the process alone, but
Yeah.
even like kind of looking at um like Dawood Bey's films, his
Mhm.
installations, and realizing that there's a whole crew that does it. I'm just like,
Right.
so all of us ain't got to do it ourselves.
Right.
Oh, okay, it makes sense now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that wasn't to challenge your process, but to
Not at all.
possibly, give it a little
And you
zhuzh.
gotta be able to pay people too,
That too,
so
that too.
that if I have some extra money, then by all means, but if I could
Oh well,
just
that's
got the
fair.
budget for me, then it's like,
Oh
"All
yeah,
right,
then it's
girl,
all you.
put the beret on and get this thing popping. Put my ascot on.
Right? It's like it is me,
Let's go."
Natrice Miller. I was revisiting, quite a few things about your work, and it's two that stuck out the most to me, and that was your Black on White series
Mhm.
and your Bestie Slides. I had never seen it before, and while watching it, it was just like this bit of nostalgia and also a bit of like grief around friendship because
Mhm.
I had to go through that this year by having like a really hard conversation with friends I've had since middle school. And that kind of ended, you know, our
Yeah.
friendship. So I'm wondering with that particular film, like where did it come from? Where did the idea stem from, and what made you feel it was important to create?
Um, Same thing, best friend distance just started happening with a
Hmm.
best friend that I thought, oh, we're gonna be together forever. Actually, a couple, maybe two really close people just started
Hmm.
getting very distant, and I reached out and, hey, did I do something wrong? Blah blah blah, and it just never made sense, and I never got a real closure. So
Hmm.
no, nothing dramatic happened. I
Yeah.
think it was just a shift, but it's painful.
Hmm.
It's painful when people you think are going to be your best friend forever or close friend just get weird with you. And
Yeah.
so, that was a really difficult time dealing with that, like say that grief of losing a best friend. And so, um, I just kind of had the idea, like I had been filming my niece. Actually, on the 4th of July one year, my niece and my nephew's girlfriend at the time were outside our house late at night under the street light doing slide. And I recorded it. It's probably on my Instagram somewhere. And it
Hmm.
sparked something. I was like, I gotta do something with that. And then it just kind of clicked like, I'm going, those childhood games, the hand games,
Right.
it's storytelling.
Yeah.
Miss Mary Mac, all these things. You're telling this story. So I decided to use something light to talk about something heavy.
Hmm.
And people talk about, oh, I broke up with my boo, I broke up with my boyfriend, my girlfriend. We could talk about that all day.
Hmm.
But out of all the boyfriends I've had that I've broken up with, nothing was more painful. None of them were more painful than breaking up with that best friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
expect a boo to act stupid. We expect at some point. You don't expect your homegirl to do it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So it's a grief unlike any breakup with any man that I ever
Hmm.
had. And it was really hard for a long time. So I use that to kind of talk about something heavy. So, and
Yeah.
I used my niece and her best friend at the time.
Mm.
I shot it in my backyard. My sister came to watch Junior because he was little at the time, acting crazy. And because I said, I just have to shoot this. It's something, it kind of helped, with the
Yeah.
process. So it actually came from real experiences. And I
Mm.
wrote it the day I shot it. I sat down and I
Mhm.
wrote out the little slide thing. And
Mhm.
that's where that happens. So, like, say
Yeah.
it's light, and if you're not listening, it's just like, oh, that's cute, two black girls. But if you're listening, it's
Yeah.
saying, Mama, what do you do when your best friend starts ignoring you? It's
Right.
painful.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
came from a real experience. That was really painful.
Yeah. Well, if anything, I truly appreciate you making such a thing because, as you said, it makes this situation that is already tough. It
Yeah,
still adds that black girl layer to it,
right.
but also it's like, damn, I I'm really gonna miss this person, and now I got to find a
Yeah,
way to kind of like detach myself from it, but heal from it as well.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, who knows if they watched it or not? There's like a couple of people I went through it. So I'm like,
Right. Say,
thank
say,
you.
right. Well,
And
this,
after you get over, it's like, thank you.
yeah, like here it is. Thank you so much. Like this is the way
Right.
I'm processing it. That's
Exactly.
even if you care, but this is how I'm
Right.
going to process that particular moment.
Yeah.
And speaking of processing, you're black on white. You care to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, that was kind of one of the first projects I feel like I did for
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm talking about, oh, I shot for other people. I was very much inspired by the work of Avedon, his In the
Mm-hmm.
West series, kind of where he
Mm-hmm.
shot these people on these white backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of the inspiration. But I just wanted to shoot beautiful black people, but I shot them really close because people don't want to get close to us. They think, oh yeah, like I'm cool with black people, but nah, like get close, get up
Yeah.
in here. Let's break this wall. So it was kind of this thing of documenting the beauty, but also kind of forcing that viewer to
Mm-hmm.
get close where we're gazing, we're right here
Yeah.
in your face, we're looking at you in a way that just not going to really happen because a lot of people just don't even care to get that
Mm.
intimate with
Yeah.
us, just as people. It's about showing the humanity
Mm-hmm.
in Black people.
And what were some of the conversations? Because that particular series, when did you complete it?
I don't even know if it's complete. I'm thinking
Mm.
about revisiting. I was supposed to do a book with it. I have a whole thing of poetry to go with it from one of my
Mm.
classmates from FAMU.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Nichols, amazing writer. And I would send him, he travels the world with his wife and they house sit and he's a writer. And I would send him pictures every time I took them. I was doing them every week. And he
Mm-hmm.
would just look at it and he would write an amazing poem
Oh, I
with
love
them.
it.
And
Yeah.
so I wanted to do a book kind of with the mix of both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I started working on it, but it's not ready. And I don't know when it'll be ready. And I think I want to revisit it because I actually want to put my children in it. I didn't have children when I
Mm-hmm.
started that series. I want to put
Mm-hmm.
them in it. I want to shoot more something where it's not complete yet. So I haven't shot for it in years, but
Mm.
I actually posted some maybe a month or so ago, and I was like, should I revisit this? Everybody's like, yeah.
Yes, I believe you
So
should. I believe
yeah,
you
I think I'm
should.
gonna revisit it in the next year or so, and just see what it feels like now. I'm a different person from when I started. Next year be 10 years since I started that
Oh,
project.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do
So,
Were there any self portraits in there?
mm-mm.
Will there be a self portrait in there?
I never thought about it, but now
Hmm.
that you're mentioning it, I'll think about it.
Okay. Okay.
I'll think about it.
I appreciate that. I mean, I just think from an archival
That's
perspective,
true. Yeah.
because
Go
again,
ahead
it
and
goes back.
slide.
Yeah, slide
Yeah.
yourself into that. Just think about it again. Because where was I? Oh, I was in Detroit a few days ago, and I went to this bookstore,
Mhm.
and I'm flipping through the pages, and I'm looking to see who the photographer is, and of course, some of the older books don't have a portrait of the photographer in their
Right.
book. Or I found a book where it was all women, and some of these people I'd heard the names, but it was the first time I'd ever seen a picture of them.
Yeah.
So, if anything, I'm just saying. Because I mean, if
You're
anything, I
giving
feel
me a
like,
whole list of things I gotta do now. She's like, "You need to direct, you
oh,
need to take some
I,
selfies."
I'm politely suggesting.
Reading me for filth.
No, never that. Never that. I mean, I see so many possibilities
Yeah.
for you, like in more so of like, because I believe in what you do.
Thank
And
you.
if anything, I want more from, just from the little that I know about you. I'm just like, this could be yummy, as far as like, you know the series, and the black on white series, because I think about I just think about photographers, especially black photographers, so much,
Mhm.
as to where our counterparts are of a different race,
Mhm.
and they have similar work, but for
Mhm.
some reason ours is kind of just gets laid to the side
Yeah.
versus being, potentially maybe in conversation with another person's work. And
Yeah.
so if anything, I want all of us to shine. I want all of us to get what we deserve. I want all of us to have our work here and there. And I looked at your CV. You've been everywhere. So I think
I
if
don't,
anything,
not yet, not
you
yet.
you've been places. Don't do that. I'll hype you up for you. But
No, it's not a not hype. I don't diminish, but I think it's one of those things. I feel like I've done some great work,
you
but
have.
when you think about the things that you the
want to do.
ultimate things,
Oh,
then it's like, oh, child, but
yeah,
I hear you. I
yeah. I
receive
mean,
it.
yeah. I mean, the fact that you um talked to, had a meeting with, and know Sheila Prebright, that to that's a big deal to me, because I think, even from the aspect of like access, as you said, there's a type of like energy, there's a type of responsibility you have for the people that you meet, even in this setting right now. Like, I feel an ultimate responsibility to share who you are. Other people know who you are, but I at least want to say, hey, I need you to know who Natrice Miller is in this moment. So when you
Hmm.
hear about her now and she's doing the things that she has dreamed of and manifested, then you know that, she has a place in this whole, particular industry. So
Right.
that's what I want to give you, what I can with what I have at the moment. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, indeed.
Especially photographer to photographer. And I
Yeah.
will say I've met some of the nicest photographers living in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
probably compared to other cities I've lived
Mm.
in. And yeah, we're all a little naturally competitive, but it's not the black women photographers that I've gotten to know, they're wonderful,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that when I first started,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I didn't know there
Yeah.
were that many of us out there. Like I said, we
Yeah.
didn't have the same modes of connection. So, like I said, I appreciate you even having a platform like this and not being a hater, because many people are haters.
Unfortunately,
So
they
yeah,
are.
because I
Yeah.
admire your work and people like Melissa and Rita Harper. Like I
Mm-hmm.
DM Rita every week. Like, just take my money, girl. Go ahead. I
Yeah.
want to
To
buy
say
another print.
right.
Just take it.
Right. I love it.
But I love that. Stephanie Brown, just all these
Mm-hmm.
different styles, and they don't mind, or y'all don't mind sharing information.
Yeah.
Because we all have things that we do. We all do
Mm-hmm.
some things that cross, but
Mm-hmm.
you kind of got your thing where you've worked on these sets and all. If I get that opportunity, I'm coming to Lynsey because she can say, "Hey, they're not paying you enough," blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's important because I didn't have that in the early days, and that's why I
Yeah.
was broke, because nobody told me I wasn't
Nobody
charging
told us.
enough.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's important, I think, especially for Black women photographers, to really stick together and be a resource to each other.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed. I want to ask one more question before we get into our rapid fire
All right.
section. But I heard that you were on the road with the circus. And I want to hear more about that, because that sounds so exciting. Because I remember going to Universal Circus a lot, and I'm just like, that looks fun.
Yeah. Was not expecting that question. No, it's one of the best moments of my life. I was on the road with them for a year in 2011. I was really, really broke, like broke. Like, so broke. I called my daddy, like, "Daddy, I need some rent money," and he didn't give it to me. So I called my uncle, um, who is he's kind of retired, but he's still on the road. But he was their signature clown, Onion Head. That's my uncle.
Mm.
And so I was close to him because he was a photographer in the Bronx for years.
Oh, wow.
So he's like one of my number one supporters. So
Mm-hmm.
he like, "Keep going, kid, keep going." So I call him like, "Uncle Bobby, like, need some money." He was like, um, "I could see if I could get your job here." I was like, "Actually, some money."
Say, I
It's
don't
like
want to
a job.
work. Just send me my money. Just send me some
Just,
money.
just send me $500 rent. But my dad ended up sending it. He would grumble, but he always gave it to us. But he was like, "Well, I could get you a job," and I mean, like I said, I was down bad, and so he's like, "I could probably get you a job," like on the road, and I was like, well, I'm gonna give it a try. So I did it, and little nepotism goes a long way. So I got a job there, but I was on the road initially working in the office. They called it the blue office, but that's the people that handle all the money from concessions. So
Mhm.
they're like, okay, well, you went to college, you smart. Okay, do this Excel sheet, count up the money. This is thousands a night, $20,000, $30,000
Oh,
up and
wow.
putting through
Yeah.
the counter. Girl, and I say I was tearing them numbers up so bad because sis don't do math. Tearing them numbers up. We're in there all night. Like I'm like Kelly Rowland. What's Excel?
Right.
Uh, the owner, Miss Walker, she was like, I'm gonna put you in the box office. So, because they had the Ticketmaster system, so it does a lot more
Right.
calculations. It's more boop boop boop.
Yeah.
So, which was fine with me. So I ended up working in the box office because I was just really broke, and
Mhm.
so I was like, well, if I'm gonna do it, they're going to almost 40 cities. My uncle's here to kind of keep an eye out, and
Yeah.
I did that for a year, really, just to get
Wow.
my money up, just to
Yeah.
get out the negative. And so I had the time of my life. I spent my 28th birthday in New York. We were at the
Oh, I love
40/40
it.
club before it closed that year, on tables, dancing, eating food. And that was my first time in New Orleans. I mean, it was really one of the best experiences of my
Mm.
life. It was very hard work, a different city every week, big cities,
Mhm.
maybe a month or so. I got to live in Chicago for a month.
Nice.
And people always say, what kind of pictures did you get? And I was not taking pictures. I was that tapped out. So I wasn't in that documentary photojournalism brain
Mhm.
yet. It was still
Mhm.
developing. So I have plenty of fun pictures of my life. But in retrospect, it's like, why wasn't I back there taking pictures of them putting on the makeup? But
Right.
like I said before, when your brain is on some different stuff, I wasn't
Yeah.
there yet.
Yeah.
And I got to
Yeah.
go back over time. So I did that for a year. And my uncle was like, get rid of your apartment and just stay on the road and save your money. And I was like, this was cool. I got my money back up. I saved some
Mhm.
money. But I was like, I got to get back to my photography. They wanted me to
Yeah.
come back because, I wasn't stealing money and stuff like that. And it was a great time. They loved me out there. But photography, I was like, I can't be gone too long. I'm going to lose the
Yeah.
few contacts I have. And so,
Mm.
um, I didn't go back that January, and I met my husband that month
Well, look
at a
at hey,
party.
it
And
all
yeah,
worked
if I
out.
got back on the road, I don't know if I'd have
Yeah.
met him. So it was really a job. So that job I didn't want to get, that
Mhm.
was one of them, but it was the circus. So it's really one of the best times of my life,
Mm.
but I just didn't want to do that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we are moving into our rapid fire section, and I just need you to give you the first answer that comes to mind when I give you these things. Okay, you ready?
All right. I'm
All right.
ready.
Tallahassee or Miami?
Miami.
Hey, just thought I'd throw it out there. um, Sitcoms or docuseries?
Docu-series.
Uh, Canon or Nikon?
Nikon.
Okay,
I
this is
shoot
the
with
end of the
Canon
show.
at work. Right.
This is
She's
the end of
like,
the
but
show, everybody, and good night.
I'm cool with Canon, because that's what I shoot with at work. That's the
Right.
cameras they gave us, R3, R5. Beautiful. I just got the new 1-300. Haven't even used it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I have no beef with Canon, but that camera that you start with first tends to be your first love, and I started with
Yeah.
Nikon. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't start with Canon. I'm not gonna name what I started with, but I didn't start with Canon. So I understand.
Okay.
I understand. Like what you shoot with is always going to
Yeah.
be the love of your life. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Are there any books that you're reading? Whether it be photo books or literature, biographies, whatever.
Um, so no, I would probably say like Whose Knees Are These and Dr. Seuss and all the little kid books because I read to my kids a lot.
They matter.
So yeah. But it's weird. I used to read a lot, a lot.
Hmm.
Because I like autobiographies and everything, but I can't keep it, I can't keep my eyes open
Hmm.
long enough to get through a chapter. So I would like to sound good and name a book, but I'm not going to do that. I constantly buy them,
Yeah.
and I tend to use books as research now.
Hmm.
So I'm buying coffee table books and just all types of little interesting books. And when I'm thinking about something or
Hmm.
ideas are coming, or even if I'm in a certain mood, I go to the bookshelf. So I've set myself up for that. So when I was going through some things, then I'll pull out my Sonia Sanchez and start reading
Hmm.
some of her poetry. If
Hmm.
I'm thinking about clothes, I have the book by Michael Jackson's Jacket Designers, King of
Oh,
Style.
wow.
And I'll
Okay.
look through that. I love coffee table books about style and the clothing and the garments. So
Hmm.
I just went to see Andre Leon Talley's exhibit at SCAD. So, I
Hmm.
bought that book. So for me right now, I'm not really sitting and just reading books the way I need to. And I do need to get back into the practice of it.
Hmm.
But I try to write a little bit, um, just very short journaling, just
Yeah.
almost thoughts passing. I'll just write a
Hmm.
passing thought and put a timestamp on it. Just
Yeah.
something to have some kind of documentation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just buy the books, and when I feel whatever I'm feeling, then I go to
Hmm.
my books.
Well, two more things. The first question is, what do you want your legacy to be?
Hmm. Um, well, I think the first thing is I want to leave something behind for my children,
Mm-hmm.
and legacy isn't, sometimes I think it's the practice of what you're doing and what they're watching. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm busy, but I'm still very present with them. But I kind of want to leave the legacy of them looking at their two parents that love each other, that support each other. Um, Dad isn't jealous or weird about anything. Dad's okay with holding it down on late nights. So the legacy of love and healthy
Hmm.
Black relationships, that's the first legacy
Yeah.
that I want to leave. My parents were
Hmm.
divorced. A lot of our parents, were divorced and things like that. So my
Hmm.
sisters are divorced. I'm the only one that stayed married. I'm at 10
Hmm.
years,
Mm.
so
Congratulations.
thank you. So beyond photography, I just want, I hope I raise some decent Black men
Hmm.
that know how to treat people. And
Hmm.
so just a legacy of treating people right, working hard, being passionate, you know, um, finding something that you love to do, and hopefully you can do something with it. That's the first thing, more than
Yeah.
anything. Like, throw photography out the window. But um photography wise, I would say just documenting the culture.
Hmm.
I want to leave this legacy of somebody that documented the culture but did it in an interesting way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have my photojournalism work and documentary work. You need that, you love it, but also to say, oh, she has some interesting cyanotypes, or oh,
Yeah.
she did a short film. So almost another lens for people to look at the Black experience of
Hmm.
this time,
Hmm.
but not in the traditional way. A
Yeah.
little bit of the traditional way for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
but just that, and I don't know, it also might change. You could probably ask me this in a year and the
Hmm.
answer might change because I'm changing all the time. But
Yeah.
I would just say, just that legacy of work and showing that we're okay. We go through a lot as a culture,
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
but we're all right. And that's probably why they're mad. All this stuff is going on these days, and we still out here talking about where them fans at.
Yeah.
That's it's beautiful though.
It
It's
is. It
beautiful.
is. It
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
is.
So I just want something to I want people to look back and see what the Black experience looked like at this time, but
Mm,
in these different
mm,
ways, so they can say, oh, well, oh wow, I kind of broke up with my bestie too. You
Mm-hmm.
know, oh,
Mm-hmm.
black people went through that 50 years ago, 100 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
in the typical way. So I don't know
Yeah.
if I said that right, but that's kind of where I am. Yeah.
I, I thought it was a very beautiful response. Wanting people to stumble upon your work as they are going through certain things, and not only going through certain things, but going through those things as a black person. That
Yeah.
is very important.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any parting thoughts before we close this out?
I do want to ask, what is your legacy? What do you want to leave behind?
Mm, it's a very good question. So I think about it in layers. I always think about what I want to leave as uh, Lynsey, not the
Hmm.
photographer, just
Right.
Lynsey. Um, and I hope and I pray that I'm leaving a legacy of kindness,
Hmm.
and a legacy of boldness in a way, because it takes a lot of perseverance to overcome your thoughts. And also, just as someone who is a black queer woman, that is also part of my legacy,
Hmm.
because um, I think about all the people that we lost, who did not have the chance to live a full life as
Yeah.
themselves. So that's definitely part of my legacy. Now, when it comes to my work, um, I want, I honestly want my work to be able to feed my family for a long time.
Hmm.
Um, I think about all the other things that I'm investing in, like a home and, this art piece, that art piece, this book. But I really want my work to be able to feed, if not two or three generations, maybe five.
I know that's
And
right.
that would make me happy. And I also kind of like Sue to see it in an institution where everybody is able to
Hmm.
experience it, whatever that may look like. Or they stumble upon my name and realize, like, oh, a black woman made that
Right.
particular photo. So yeah, I that's my legacy. I hope it. I always think about it because I'm like, I hope it doesn't sound selfish, but I think it's more about representation than that was Lynsey that did it. Like, no,
Right.
somebody that looked like me did that. So yeah, but thank you for
And
asking
like you
that.
said, well, the thing is, when I was pregnant with my first child, and I was freelancing then, so I had a lot more flexibility. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'm tired. I'm gonna lay down. And a friend was like, girl, all you do is nap. And I was like, my ancestors were pregnant and they couldn't nap.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
had to get out there and do things they didn't want to do, 7 months pregnant,
Right.
exhausted, in pain, nauseous.
Right.
So it is my right just almost to do it for them. And they laughed.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm dead serious.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thought of it was rough being pregnant, being a photojournalist, and I love it. But to
Yeah.
be out there in the heat doing something that you have to do, I choose to
Right.
do that. They didn't.
Right.
That's my choice. So,
Mm-hmm.
kind of to your point, like, no, like, we're doing this for the people that probably wanted to paint maybe in
Yeah.
the 1800s, maybe
Right.
before they could get a camera. Like, God, I wish I could paint. Or the one in the 1900s that wish they could take pictures, but they couldn't afford a camera, or somebody said that
Yeah.
was dumb or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many amazing creatives that nobody had an idea that they were artists and photographers, Black
Mm-hmm.
women, and they did not get the opportunity. And that's why I think it's so important. I don't think it's selfish. It's like, no, we're able, that whole I'm my ancestors' wildest dream. It's
It's
real.
true. Yeah.
It's very true. So I like to think your ancestors, mine, even down to, your mother, my father are looking like
Yeah.
they did all right.
They
Because
did.
daddy,
Yeah.
daddy wasn't feeling it at first.
And
But
my
it's
mama
like
sure wasn't feeling it.
my daddy's from the Bahamas, like, girl, get you a regular job. You know what I mean? But yeah, I like to think they're looking like, gosh, they get to lay down and rest. They get to sit
Mm-hmm.
here and decide they want to do a podcast and talk to us, and we can. So I think we
Yeah.
shouldn't take it for granted. And I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, if you want to shoot, just get out there and shoot. You know, you ain't gonna be Gordon Parks tomorrow, or you might be.
No.
I don't know, but
Right.
just
Right.
do it because you can. They could not.
You're right.
So I don't think we should take it lightly, all the liberties that we have. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
ain't selfish.
Appreciate that. Well,
Yep.
Natrice, I feel like that is an excellent way to close out this episode. I appreciate you so much, and just the banter, the conversation around just your work, yourself. Uh, Again, I'm such a fan as far as like Black womanhood, Blackness all around. I love how your work flows. I love the music that you choose as far as your playlist. I love just the way that you shine in your practice. And I'm very grateful that you decided to be on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I love your work
Indeed.
too.
Oh, thank
So
you.
good. Oh, shucks.
And on that note, y'all, thank y'all so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to Trust Your Process, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Until then, follow us on Instagram at trustyourprocess.co. You can also find me as LN Weatherspoon on both Instagram and YouTube. Trust Your Process is a labor of love, but if you're interested in sponsoring an episode, send an email to hello@trustyourprocess.co. It could be through a bird carrier, it could be Venmo, it could be Zelle. However you feel inclined to help, I truly appreciate it. Trust Your Process is written and hosted by Lynsey Weatherspoon and produced by Zakia Watley.